Begin this evening in Sri Lanka, where Islamic State have tonight claimed responsibility for the Easter bombings. It comes as investigators linked the attacks with the Christchurch mosque massacre, with suggestions this was revenge. This evening, the Australian mother and child killed in the bombings have just been laid to rest in their hometown. Our Network Europe Bureau Chief Hugh Whitfield is live in Colombo, Sri Lanka, for us this evening. Hugh, good evening. Let's begin with the investigation first. What has ISIS said tonight?
Well, Michael, good evening. ISIS released a statement through its media agency saying essentially the perpetrators of the attack are fighters for Islamic State. Now, there are a couple of caveats with that, the first one being it's 2 days since the attacks now, and that's unusually long for ISIS to leave it before claiming responsibility for an attack. We also know that when they do this, they do it for attacks that they do directly coordinate and for attacks that they inspire as well. Now, the Pentagon in the US is saying that ISIS did inspire the attacks here in Sri Lanka. The Sri Lankan Prime Minister a short time ago holding a press conference saying that there is suspicion of links with Islamic State, but they have not provided evidence so far, and that everyone who's been arrested so far, around 40 people, are all Sri Lankan.
All right, so Hugh, how does this fit in with the theory or suggestions there this evening from officials that this was a Christchurch revenge attack?
Yeah, a couple of mixed messages with this, Michael. A couple of hours ago, the Defence Minister said that these attacks in Sri Lanka were in retaliation for the mosque attacks in Christchurch 5 weeks ago, and the Prime Minister just now saying it is possible, but we cannot say yet. So those problems that the Sri Lankan government has had in terms of intelligence seem to be playing out for the world to see now, with mixed messages coming from different members of the government. And we know that the government was warned at least 3 times about the possibility of these attacks here. So the Sri Lankan government is really struggling with this.
They are. And look, the families are also struggling as well. Hugh, and the Australian mother and child killed in the bombings have just been laid to rest.
Yeah, Michael, we've spent the day at Bobatia, which is about 45 minutes north of here in Colombo, where Monique Suriarachi and her 10-year-old daughter Alexandria were laid to rest. They had a funeral at St Nicholas's Church. That is Monique's mother's church in her hometown village. They couldn't hold the funeral inside the building itself because there are still security fears. So it all happened out on the veranda. And earlier I spoke with Monique's husband, Sadesh, as people were coming to mourn with him at the family home. Can you tell us about Monique and Alexandria?
I can talk about Monique and Alexandria. Talk about Alexandria. It's my daughter, 11 years old. Such a beautiful daughter. She loved Australia. She loved Australia. Loved to sing. Love to dance. Monique also, she came to Sri Lanka to help the country develop the relationship Australia and Sri Lanka. Unfortunately, she couldn't do it because of I think for the Sri Lankan politicians, she won't let you do it. At the end, who responsible for this? Before the bomb blast, 2 minutes, I just walked to the outside. Then the bombing off. That's my daughter. My board tied my hand. What else you would say? It's really sad. Really hard. I really do.
Yeah, Hugh, that is incredibly difficult to listen to, that poor man. You've also spoken with Manic's cousin today, I understand.
Yeah, look, I've got to point out, Michael, that we were invited by the family to be at the funeral and the burial. It was incredibly emotional. Obviously, Sadesh really battling with the loss of his wife and daughter. His whole family has been wiped out by terrorists. And as Fiona Rodrigo, Monique's cousin, told us, the family is enormously sad, but they are angry that people are killing each other on the streets of this beautiful country.
It's very unbearable for the whole family. I wish Sudesh Kolonne will get the chance to bear all the difficulties. He will be alone after this. So, yeah, I feel very unsafe right now because of the unstable situations in the country. I kindly ask everyone to act as humans and not to kill anyone. We are all humans. We can't bear all our pains. It's so difficult to say bye to someone who will leave unexpectedly.
Yeah, act as humans, Hugh. Extremely strong advice. Now, look, also this evening, the latest is that pictures have been released of a suspect believed to have been carrying explosives in his backpack, Hugh.
Yeah, it gives you an idea of how these 6 suicide bombers operated throughout Sri Lanka on Easter Sunday, wearing a fairly sizable backpack, walking fairly calmly into St Sebastian's Church, where Monique and Alexandria were killed in Negombo. You see the suicide bomber even pat the head of a little girl as he walks in before detonating the device at the end of Mass. There are 2 other breaking lines I want to point out to you, Michael. The Prime Minister here has just said that a 4th hotel was targeted or was going to be targeted in the attack on Easter Sunday, but the attack wasn't carried out. And also, police here have been on high alert for most of the day, fearing that a van and a truck have been driving around Colombo laden with explosives as well. So this country is not out of the danger zone just yet.
No, not at all. OK, Hugh Whitfield in Sri Lanka for us this evening. Thank you.